Hi, I'm Kim and I'm an artist. Welcome to my next installment of my color mixing challenge. I recently returned from spring break in Oregon. I've been wanting to go to the Pacific Northwest, especially Portland, Seattle, coastal area for more than a decade now, and finally got a chance to do it. I took my kids on their spring break and convinced my parents, and we did a multi-day road trip from Idaho to Portland and around in that area a bit and then back. So it was a lot of driving. I love road tripping personally. Not sure my kids liked it as much as I did, but they had a good time. Yeah. The thing that I was looking forward to the most by far was venturing into the foresty areas. I love a good beach. I love a good cityscape, but more than anything, I love the forest and the mountains. Taking that into consideration, I was blown away. I thought I knew what to expect, but it was even better than I had conceived of in my imagination. It was otherworldly there. So it's springtime, so it was constantly drizzling and mostly overcast. We had a day of sunshine, and most people are not looking for this for spring break, but I am. So we live in a place where it's sunshine almost every single day. And what I crave is not the opposite, but I just crave more variety in my life. I mean, where I live, it's pretty much summer almost all the time. So rain and overcast and fog was more than welcome for me and for my children. What I really loved the most was the green there, just the absolute glowing green of the moss on the trees. There's something about the way that the light hits it that I think enhances it. But there's just this sort of, I don't know, lime green moss that covers so much of the trees and even the rocks in the more rainy regions and the more rainforesty regions. And that is what I wanted to capture in today's color mixing challenge, is that beautiful, stunning, otherworldly green. And this isn't a color that I would normally be attracted to, mind you. It's almost like a lime green, and it's just not really within my preferred color family. But there was something so magical about this. So I think the trick here is going to be that I'm not really trying to capture a particular tone exactly. Really more like I'm trying to capture a feeling. When it comes to visual arts, so much of what communicates the story is the emotion held in the colors. So it's very important for an artist to be able to not just recreate accurate colors or to achieve specific tones, but to also know the relationship of how they work together. So the story you're trying to communicate can come through. So what I'm kind of chasing after with this color mix really isn't to replicate an exact color. It's really to replicate a feeling of being there in that otherworldly space and seeing these magically glowing trees. And I guess we'll see how it goes. I'm working today with primary yellow, primary cyan, and I have out a primary magenta that I don't think I'm going to be using, at least not for the green part, but we'll see. Obviously a ton of yellow and then some blue. All right, so right off the bat, we've got sort of like an apple, like a candy apple green, I'd say, and it needs to be much, 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 much lighter. Even though I'm sort of going for monochromatic painting here, I might just cheat a little bit on this one because the spirit of this green, this glowing sort of lime green, it's just not going to be achieved with one solid color. It is, in fact, a blend of many values and tones of green, plus the lighting, plus the relationship with the other colors around it that make it so special and ethereal. So as you can see, it's kind of like almost a lime green. I don't hate it. Oftentimes with color mixing, you don't know where it's going to end up. You just get started, and then as you start mixing a color, you realize what is actually going on to make the color. And like I mentioned before, it's not just mixing pigments together, but it's you start to understand the relationship and everything just in those few moments when you start mixing up the color. At least that's when it kind of happens for me. So I'm going to mix this to a certain point, and then I'm just going to call it. Then I'm going to do something a little different from my other color mixing challenge videos, and I'm not going to just mix in white and black to change the value. I'm going to change the value using primary colors. I'm going to start mixing in a little bit of our primer magenta here for some deeper tones instead of black, and more yellow instead of white in this case to lighten this color. I have to move pretty quickly because these are acrylics, and acrylics do dry quickly. Now that I'm working with both oils and acrylics, this becomes even more painfully evident to me. But let's see, I want to have a deeper tone up to a very light tone. I don't want to put the magenta onto my knife yet. I'm going to mix in quite a bit more of this yellow. And if you look into this reference here, you will find that there's very nearly a true yellow in some of the highlights there. This needs to become a whole lot closer to that yellow in order to be effective. Now for this darker bit, I'm going to add in a little bit of a complement. Maybe you can already start seeing how much more vibrant that green is against this now that I've added in the complement. And the color has changed quite a lot. And I'm going to add quite a bit less to this pile to create more of a mid-tone. All right, so now I have here 4 tones in total, and we'll see what I can do with it. that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll come back to see me soon.